things that we worked on a lot last year was this equation E plus R equals O. So event plus response equals outcome. And we can't control the event, we can't control the outcome. All we can control is our response to the event. And um, we pretty much practice that everywhere, right?
Anyways, I think we can go ahead and get started. Um,
Cool.
but I want to just overall introduce everyone. Hey guys, it's me, it's Matt, and welcome to this episode of what we call HP for Gamers. We help everyone, gamers, healthcare professionals, business administrative staff, Pokemon trainers, um, anyone really, understand how you can maximize your health and performance in the world of esports. And today we have two guys that I've known for 5 years, maybe 5 years now, or it's been
Probably.
five,
I, I,
probably
I
around
think I
five
think we've known each
years.
other for 5 years.
The Smash Melee gods themselves, Kevin Toy, Zach Cordoni, the Discordoni. Um, it's been really great to know them and see you guys also evolve for the past couple of years, both inside and outside of the game. It was also really fun to work with you guys the moment that you guys started at CLG, or I started there. And I think it's been an adventure, and I'd love to get into a little more of that. But before we sort of dive into all of this, maybe you guys can just give a brief background of where you guys are now, and yeah, just let everyone know who you are.
Sure thing. I guess I'll start off. My name's Kevin, also known as PEWFAT. For about 13, 14 years, I competed in Super Smash Bros. Melee. I've been on some makeshift teams and one very official team. And the makeshift teams, I was probably part of in the middle of my career for like 2 years, and got signed to CLG in 2015. So I'm going on 6 years at CLG. And just a month ago, I retired a little bit. I guess you could call it that. Fuck that. Now I work as a senior coordinator of team ops and marketing. So that's where I'm at now.
At CLG, and we're coworkers now, so it's great.
Yes,
I
yes,
wish I could see
indeed.
him in the office every
So
day.
yeah.
We're not there yet.
But yeah, it's funny. Matt was actually at the CLG facility like 2 days ago, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there was a chance that I could have seen him had I been
Oh.
down there.
Wow, how could you not be there? So Zach, tell us a little bit of the history, and then what you're doing now.
Cool. Yeah. Kevin and I started playing Melee pretty much at the same time, 14-ish years ago. And I joined CLG 6 months after Kevin did as a player. And I'm still a player, still playing for CLG, still competing in tournaments in this new online era because of COVID.
Right.
Um, and also going to school, studying quantitative psychology, um, and yeah, just grinding. Pretty much, if I'm not doing schoolwork, I'm playing Melee. If I'm not playing Melee, I'm working out, and that's pretty much it.
So, what is quantitative psychology?
Yeah, so it's like it's psychology, but instead of a biological emphasis, it's more of a statistics emphasis.
Ooh, interesting.
So,
How did
you know,
you
I
even figure out that you wanted to do that or major in that?
I just kind of happened to I was big into math, and I just happened to finish my calculus series, and instead of like a bio series, so it was sort of just like the natural progression. Like, oh, I'll
Mm.
just take a few more stats classes, so I don't have to take all these bio and chem classes. And Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, but to add on to that, you've always had like a knack for like psychology and studying the brain as
That's
well.
right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I've known that too since we've met, and we always, chatted a lot about that and implemented a lot of things when we worked together. How has being in school, with with psychology or quantitative psychology influence your practices around gaming or around playing, if at all, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think I've taken. I don't know. I'm not sure if my classes have directly affected my performance. I mean, a lot of the groundwork for my performance learning started with you when we first worked at CLG together. And a lot of the things I still practice today are just additions to what we kind of laid down.
Right. Right.
But I'll say it is kind of cool being at school as someone who's older and not like around the average college age, because I don't know, everyone's so quiet and timid. And as someone who, has been like flying around the world playing games and meeting people for the last 5 years, it's really easy to just talk to people, get close with teachers and TAs. And, I don't feel like there's that timidness that, other younger college students have. So I think that's kind of an advantage that I have.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting perspective. I never thought of it in that way, and that it would give you an advantage, but I could see it. It would be a lot easier because it's not the first time for you, and also just being exposed to a bunch of social environments. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure you have a lot of advantages, not only for school but like developing these relationships with the professors. So that's awesome. And so I guess going to Kevin, what's your, when you were playing, and I know you're still playing, but what's your overall approach for staying healthy and being at your best in as a pro melee player?
Well, I think at the baseline, it's all about addressing like your daily needs. And Zach and I, we worked really hard with our coach, Coach Bobby, and so that we can really like flesh out our daily needs, so that we can understand how we can just have like a good day. And so, and then after that, you can build on top of that good day with all the things you need to improve at. But like for the basics, like, like get good sleep, sunlight, move around, all that kind of stuff. And then when it comes to actually like playing Melee, you kind of just have to be like an aggressive learner and always make sure that you're still like a student of the game. As I said, I played the game for like fucking 15 years, and you can never stop learning at any point. You can never like stop and be like, yeah, I know everything. That's the moment that you fall off and it's horrible. So
definitely, you can't get complacent.
Yeah, gotta have the right attitude.
Right. And Zach, do you feel like there's anything different for you, or what is your approach?
I think a big thing, like Kevin said, that we emphasize a lot in our practice is like having a balanced life outside the game, because that helps having a balanced life inside the game. And so if we have a lot of turmoil outside the game, we didn't sleep, or we have some, we're holding a grudge against someone and we haven't dealt with it, then it definitely affects our play. So we try to live as balanced of a life as we can so that we can perform the best we can.
Got it. And, when did that kind of thing become important for you guys? Was it right off the bat? Like, did it, when you guys first started, you're like, all right, I'm going to be the most balanced Smash player in the world? Or was it like, hey, over time you started to pick things up? Would love to know how all these habits came about outside of, the boy Bobby himself, the legend himself.
I can say for the longest time, Zach and I played and competed like kids, and what that means is like only following impulses really, and not really having a kind of formula that works for yourself. And so we kind of just went about our lives, never exactly prepared for events like months out of it. We were like crammers. How kids like just imagine like a high school kid and he has to do finals for the first time. He wasn't studying a month in advance. He did that shit the night before. And much to that, Zach and I feel we didn't really get this kind of like formulaic approach under our belt until maybe like a year or 2 years into being on CLG. Like I feel that we were for the most part just like winging it the whole time. And that was also kind of the culture with Smash too, to just kind of be a degenerate kid and to kind of just go about your business and worry about the repercussions later. But I would say, go ahead, Zach.
I was just gonna say, I remember, this is like at Apex 2015, Kevin and I, we were a really strong team, top 3 teams. We went to bed at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, had to wake up and play at 10 in the morning. Like this was the type of style that most Smash players followed, this type of preparation. And yeah, like Kevin said, it wasn't until we got on CLG, actually, I credit a lot of what I've learned from you, Matt, for laying that foundation for both of us. Like you would tell me something and then I would go tell Kevin, hey, yo, we should go to sleep like on time, get 8 hours of sleep, warm up half an hour before, like, and then once we were on CLG, it was a lot easier, not only to compete, but also just to like live outside of life too. Is like, oh,
that's true.
Like maybe I can just take responsibility for my actions.
Yeah, imagine that.
So do you feel like, with like professionalization of Melee back then, when teams started to pick up more players and you guys were signed by CLG, did that preparation become more part of the culture at the time? Or do you feel like you guys were maybe like one of the few?
I'll let you answer this one, Zach, because I think since you lived at the complex, or not the complex, since you lived at the house, you probably were able to
the complex.
See that
it was the complex. I love that place. Oh man.
Apparently it's haunted, by the way. That's just what I've heard. But go ahead.
I don't think it was very common in Smash to prepare the way that we did. Maybe like a handful of players that I can think of would prepare like we would, study VODs, get good sleep, eat well, make sure, plan out how far is the venue, how far is the hotel, all these like logistical things to make the performance stay easier. I would say even today, like it's still only a handful of players that do that. So
got it. Yeah. I mean, I definitely feel that it's probably still rare, but hoping that more and more people, pick up these habits, and maybe seeing the benefits. But I mean, you guys have been probably one of the best, arguably, I guess, the best Smash Melee players of all time. What are some things that you guys feel like maybe contributed to all of that success, right? And just as a statistic for people that are watching, right? You guys have come in first for 15 of the last 19 major tournaments. That's insane.
Wow.
And like, so I looked that up. So that was crazy. So I'm just really curious, like, what are you guys' thoughts as to why that is, and what things that you guys did that contributed to that?
That's a thinker. That is a thinker.
Yeah.
Well, I will say one of the most important things is that Zach and I have still been able to communicate as extremely close friends since like 2006. And so like, and Zach and I are the same age, so we've been through the same stuff at the same times, you know, school, so and the growing pains of competing. And I think something that Zach and I have done really well is when we lose, our communication has never broken down. Like we could lose really bad, but that's okay. Like we're still going to communicate, and we're going to work towards, you know, the next thing in sight. And that's the priority. It's not about winning today. It's more so about just being there and being along for the journey, and, you know, making sure that the slightest little like bump in the road isn't going to derail us.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
You got nothing to add to that? Come on, man.
I think you summed it up. Like, I mean, it's not only is our like in-game communication really good, but out of game, you know, we check in with each other, we see where we're at, and you know, I guess one thing is we're not afraid to just like jump in a lobby or a game, and just the two of us, and then beat up a CPU, you know, and then just calm out like, oh, hey, this is working, this isn't working, maybe we should look at this. Got it. And I think those little things are what a lot of other doubles players don't tend to do a whole lot. So I think that contributed a lot as well.
Was your guys's, I guess, mental resilience or communication, has it always been that way since the beginning? Or do you guys feel like there were some tough times where you were like, dude, what? Come on. Or have you guys, I mean, you guys have been really close friends for a long time, so I'm just curious.
And there was that one time in 7th grade, but I don't know if
wow, okay.
Let's not get into that. let's just not get into that. When it comes to playing the game, I think we've been so good about like addressing things early. So like if you know, let's divide it into two categories. So there's the gameplay category, and then there's like our team culture category. So like for the gameplay stuff, that's like easy. You know, you can really get after it, and like after a loss, you can talk it over, talk about what went wrong, you know, and make the plan. When it comes to like the culture of our team together, I mean, like Zach and I have both seen each other like slack off immensely before, and we've both seen each other get really fucking mad. But you know, like we've never really gotten like super mad at each other, or like, and there's no blame. You know, we can criticize each other, and there's no blame, and there's no like microaggression attached to it or anything. It's very like open communication the whole way. I wouldn't say Zach and I have ever like had like any form of like beef with each other in terms of like our team dynamic throughout the 15 years.
Wow. I mean, I think that's super rare. Super rare.
Probably.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, have you guys had any other experience, you know, where maybe one of you guys had to fill, and there was some frustration, or you know, for some reason you had to play with someone else, or I mean, hey, or you guys were just like, I don't care, I'm always gonna play with you no matter what.
There was a period of time where Kevin was not really attending everything, and he wasn't sure if he was going to go to events because he had other priorities. And so we have gone to some events, maybe like 1 or 2 that we actually didn't team at. But other than that, there have been times, I think, when we get mad when we play, we aren't necessarily mad at each other. We're more mad at ourselves. And I think what we're both really good at, and Kevin more so, is like pulling the other person out of the trenches and bringing them back up to the standard of play that, you know, we're used to. And like really not putting any blame, but being able to like uplift each other out of those like tilting moments. you know?
Yeah, and I think there are just days that, like, I don't know, I'm playing a 2 out of 10, you know? And there's nothing you can, like, you can't say much in terms of, like, my gameplay, like, oh, I think you should do this. Like, it's usually, like, it's more of, like, an emotional and mental approach. So, like, if one of us is playing a 2 out of 10 and we're, like, really tense, the other person is really good at just, like, snapping them out of it and, like, making sure that we're just going about, like, you know, our normal stuff. And we always have the mentality that it's like, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Even if you get destroyed today, just come back next tournament.
Well, what are some of your guys' strategies to help your teammate, to pick your teammate up? Because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, right? When they see their teammate struggling, they're not really sure what to do. And oftentimes they just kind of give them space. They're just like, okay. And I think there's arguments to say that, well, everyone's different. So you kind of have to assess what works for someone. But what are some of the strategies that you guys typically take with each other?
I think one of the big things that we do, you know, of course we do the whole like, hey, we got this, you know, energy up. Don't we try to like direct the other person's focus on what's important, right? So maybe I'll be like tilted at, you know, one of the other team members or one of the other opponents and like how they're playing, and Kevin will just redirect my focus to to like our objective, right? Alternatively, we'll just ask each other, like, hey, yo, what can I do? Like, what do you need from me right now? Like, what can I do right now?
Yeah.
And you know, that's pretty much the best way, I think, to help, because either we tell them like, hey, I need this from you, or it's like, I'm not really sure, but it at least gets them thinking about what they need, right?
Yeah, another thing that I think is really good for us is like to mentally ground ourselves. We have a lot of mantras. So like, you know, we'll say shit like keep it tight, you know, and to us that means like, you know, we're gonna stay compact. We're not gonna give them anything for free. And then also like humor works. Like even when it's really serious, I can be like, oh my god, like Android is my bitch right now. Like I am fucking him, you know, and like you know, not holding anything back, and you know, it's a good way to pump us up, but also just like break some of that tension.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
I can swear on this, right?
Oh, of course. We can do it.
Okay. Cool.
That's amazing. I love that a lot, and I'm curious to hear more of your guys' mantras, or at least your strategy or approach with it. Do you guys talk about it before and just like, hey, this is kind of our mantra, and this is kind of our core value, or whatever, and you guys are intentional while saying it during those moments, or is it just kind of something that developed over time?
They kind of just stick, right? You know?
Yeah, I guess like in practice, we'll just say something like, oh, I you know, like when we VOD review, we do come up with like certain strategies, and we'll, you know, compartmentalize those strategies in like 1 or 2 words, like the castle strategy, or you know, the don't.
Okay.
Don't,
right?
Yeah, don't is also good.
And but yeah, they just kind of come up naturally, and then they just sort of stick because we just keep using them because they're useful. So.
I like that. I think that is underutilized thing to take from practice into performance, right? Like utilizing, I guess, performance keys or these small mantras that compartmentalize, yeah, exactly, these frameworks of how you guys approach certain situations. So I love that. You know, is there anything else that you feel like you guys do uniquely in your practice, or approaching your preparation for a tournament that again might have helped you guys be as dominant as you guys have been?
Well, we have way more fun than any of the other teams. Like in my opinion, like they low-key like get mad at each other, like hold like mini grudges against each other. But like Zach and I are so good at like letting that kind of stuff go, and like I think Zach and I can play like the number 2 team in the world, because we're the number 1. Well, we can play the number 2 team in the world and try our hearts out, and it's amazing fun. Or Zach and I can play against like our hometown friends who don't even play anymore, and it can still be fun. Like we can always find like the fun in it, and even when we play up against people that like we dislike or we're not fans of playing against, like we still find a way to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys intentional about doing that, or it was just a natural part of who you guys are as a team? Like, were you like, dude, let's just make sure we always have fun? Or was it just that, I mean, you guys are naturally, I think you guys have that type of personality to me, where you guys can enjoy a lot of things in the moment, just because of who you are.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think naturally we both are. It's easy to roll things off of both of us, but there have been tournaments where both of us have been like super stressed, and like we're like, all right, like we really want to win this set, and then we'll just turn to each other and be like, yo, let's just have fun with it. Like,
yeah,
I think we started saying that around like 2016 or 2017, and we were just like, yo, let's like fuck the result, like let's just ride or die, doesn't matter.
Wow.
The hardest was when we were consistently getting third, and that was really hard to enjoy, because it's like, oh my god, like I want to win a tournament so bad, and like we just couldn't. But like, actually, I think the first major tournament that we did win, it was like at Evo, and we just had like a total like relaxed approach to it. I might have had like a beer.
Perfect. Perfect.
But what's funny is, had I been in like my old mental state, and if a beer was offered to me, I'd be like, fuck no, like I'm about to be in grand finals, like I need to take this shit serious. But I kind of just like we learned over time to like let that go, and to kind of ignore like that kind of that kind of context that you internalize for like, oh, this is grand finals, now's the time for me to like be extremely serious. And we kind of let that go over time, and we were able to just like let our gameplay run its course. And
yeah, there's like a balance, right? People who are listening might think like, oh yeah, sure, these guys just didn't try, they just had fun with it. Like, easier said than done. But
right.
I agree with Kevin. Like, it does just come with time. Like, you just kind of got to keep telling yourself like, this is fun. Like, you're doing it for fun. Like, if you win, even if you win, right, you get your 15 minutes of joy, but then like that joy of winning only lasts so long, and I think why people who have like cracked, who have won, keep winning, is because they understand that like it doesn't really matter in the end whether they won or not. It's just it's part of the journey.
Right. I think so many people need to hear that, right? Because everyone is focused on just the destination, right? They only want that. And I think it also creates the situation where when they do win, they feel lost, right? I'm sure there have been multiple stories where people win and they don't come back to win again, because they're like, okay, well, I achieved it, now what? And I think that's so powerful to hear that you guys developed that, and pretty early on, even in the face of repeatedly getting third. That's amazing. That's so awesome. I actually didn't know that. And that's really cool to hear. You guys developed that over time. And I think we can't talk about performance without talking about, your coach, right? Our boy, BobbySeige. I wish I should have brought him on too, because it's been a long time since I talked to Bobby. But how has he contributed to your guys' success as well?
Oh man, there's so many ways.
And let's give the backstory a little bit, right? Because I remember talking to Zach, and he's also been a very close friend of you guys for a long time, right? And
yeah,
you guys were like, hey, we should get our homie in as the coach. And I remember I was like, I think that's a great idea. I was like, I'm down. I'm down to push for this. And I think we all collectively pushed toward it. And now, I mean, he's been one of my favorite coaches to follow in terms of just in general. And just I've talked to him a lot. Well, not so much recently, but back then when I was working a lot pretty closely with you guys. Just think he's great. So definitely want to hear your guys' perspective on how he's, helped you guys grow as well over the past couple of years or many years.
Yeah, I think what Bobby does really well for us is he's a really good anchor for both in and out of the game. And what I mean by that is like he makes sure that we're hitting our daily needs. He gives us like a framework to not only like structure our practice, but also how we should be structuring our life, because there are a lot of parallels there to having balanced gameplay and balanced life. And Bobby's work with us, like he has immense patience. First of all, like I think Bobby and I have had more heated conversations than Kevin and I have ever had. But he just has a lot of patience with us, and yeah, I don't know. He's just been great. Like we owe a lot to Bobby.
Yeah, I think Bobby has also hold on, let me word this right. I think Bobby has given us the tools to mentally buy in and like own our own like journey to improve. And so I think where a lot of coaches, at least traditional coaches, will tell you like do this, Bobby has been really good at just allowing us to mentally like really believe in the process. And so Bobby has been, and this is exactly like why Bobby is like one of the most respected coaches at CLG and within Smash, like because he's really helped us like reshape our approach to just like living our life.
What are some of the strategies that or things that you feel like he's done that have helped you guys mentally buy into that or really buy into the journey or process?
Yeah, one of the things that we worked on a lot last year was this equation E plus R equals O. So event plus response equals outcome. And we can't control the event, we can't control the outcome. All we can control is our response to the event. And we pretty much practice that everywhere, right? In the game, we can't control what our opponent's doing. We can't control what result we get, what place we get. All we can control is how much preparation we put into it and our own actions. So, and especially during this online era, right? There's so many things that could go wrong, lag or, frames dropping, tournaments being held up, right? And we don't have any control over that. We can only control how we respond to those things. So
yeah, and event plus response equals outcome is not only the outcome of like a game. You can stretch out that equation like to like a year of your life even, or you could do it for like a microtransaction in the game. But regardless, whatever event is thrown your way, you don't have control of the outcome. And what he really stresses is that all we can do is control our response. And so with that is like how we need to like approach our lives and whatnot. Because when Steph Curry shoots a three, the ball's left his hand and it's flying, and maybe you see it's not going to make it in. You can't stop it. You can't do anything. And so the event of pulling up for the three, his only real response is letting it fly, and the outcome is what it is.
Wow, I love that. I love that equation. Event plus response equals outcome. And does he discuss that the response can influence the outcome? Is that what he's saying? That what you guys control within your response. And as you guys said, it can be not only inside of the game. This is also, has basis in emotion and how you handle stressful situations in your life. If you maybe control your response, it can maybe lead to different outcomes. So I mean, I love that. Sorry, go on.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Good, good. I mean, E plus R equals O. Euro. Well, let me just Euro. Good. Okay, so any other equations? I mean, wow, and I'm sure that works well with you, Zach, because math, right? So you're like, okay, quantitative psychology, Euro. So you're gonna work with Bobby to publish a study on Arrow, right? The Arrow sent in. Is that who he is? Is he Jiraiya? He might
as well be, dude.
He might be Jiraiya. Oh wow, Jiraiya Sensei. Okay. So let's pull it back. Let's see. Let's talk more about things like injuries and pain. And if you feel the need to jump on your trampoline, go ahead. It's cool.
Turning on some lights.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, you're gonna go jump? Yeah, that's cool. Was wondering if you guys have ever dealt with any injuries, pain, discomfort.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start because I worked with you on this, Matt. There was a time where it was my left hand. That's right. Yeah, my left hand. I'm trying to see if my digiflex is around here. It is.
Oh. Should we match?
But there was a time where and here I'll show the people. There was a lot of discomfort and a lot of really tightness in, I think, like this tendon that goes from here all the way down like this. And it was like super duper tense, and I was really depressed. I was like, man, I don't want to like retire. Like, I still have so much to do in this game. And I was just like, okay, like, Matt, like, you got to help me out. Like, what's going on here? And we deduced that, as a controller player, when it comes to playing, there's so much activity with this trigger and so much activity with my left. And we realized that since I was pushing the trigger so often, that tendon that was going down here was under like a lot of stress. And we troubleshooted and we found a bunch of ways to like strengthen that. And that's also why I brought out the digiflex.
Perfect. Boom.
And yeah, a way to strengthen. But that's probably my only like actual like scare of an injury, and it wasn't major or anything, but it still freaked me the hell out. And like so that was also really eye-opening because it helped me like listen to my body more, and it gave me like a lot of like physical awareness for that.
Yeah, I also had some tendon pain in the past, and I think like the best solution that I found, besides like stretching, taking breaks, has been like strength training, like strengthening not only my forearms but just like my whole body. Has done me wonders. And now, sometimes I get some pain if I haven't played Melee for like a week or two, and I jump back into it and I try to play some high-level Melee. The next day, I'll be really sore, like all over my hands. So I've learned now that I kind of have to take it slow and like have to warm up for a while or much longer than I normally would, and play some like lower level people, and then eventually get into the higher level Melee. But if I jump too quickly into high level Melee, like my hand's gonna be so sore the next day.
You gotta use the fluffers. You gotta fluff up your hands. Got it. I remember the first time you told me that. You're like, oh yeah, we gotta look for we find fluffers. We play these people called fluffers, and I was like, oh.
Did you call them fluffers, Zach?
I think we did. Probably.
Yeah, I was like, is there any way you could find someone that also plays the same character? And he was like, oh yeah, so like fluffers, right? And I was like, what? I was like, oh, okay, I guess, yeah, fine, those
Like
guys.
some fluffers take pride in being fluffers. Okay, you know,
Right,
That's
right.
true.
So,
That's true.
right, there's a
job.
fluff roster out there, and you guys just go sign up for them, right? Like, all right, if I need fluff on Station 6.
Yeah, Prince Abu is probably the best fluffer of all time, Zach. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely most famous.
Yeah, most famous fluffer.
Let's provide some context for people. What are fluffers in a melee or FGC scene?
I'll let you answer this one, Zach.
They're people that prep you for your next match. So you know, if I've got to play Matt Leffen, you know, I'm not gonna. Well, I guess I could warm up with Leffen, but you know, generally I'll pick a fox who's like a little bit lower level, and warm up with them for an X amount of time. And generally, like I want someone like kind of close to his style, but more than anything, like when I play them, it's not really about winning. It's just about making sure all the gears are loose and turning well, and you know things are connecting. You know, it doesn't really matter. I'm not really focused about playing their neutral against them. I'm really just focusing on my punish and like making sure I can move adequately.
Got it. So, in terms of warm up, I've always wanted to ask you guys, do you think it's better to warm up in that sense, like fluffing and just getting this mechanical warm up, getting your fingers moving, or do you think it's better to have like a full set where you're mentally engaged in that set too, where you're actually thinking about strategy and maybe doing a mental repetition instead of just the physical repetition?
I think I prefer not to do that on game day. Well, okay. Actually, if it's really early in the morning, I do like to do really try hard sets first thing, because it like jolts my whole system, and I immediately get my adrenaline boost, and like I'm ready to go pretty much for the rest of the day. But like right before a set, I don't really want to use that energy to just play. You know, I'd rather like keep it tight and like reserve my energy for when I have to play that set. Also, like in terms of like physical arousalness, like I'll try to judge: am I too tense right now? Am I too lax? Like, and then I have to adjust. Like maybe I need to do some jumping jacks or some push-ups, or maybe I need to like just go sit down and like breathe and not do anything. So
Yeah, I much prefer the fluffer over the sweater. Yeah,
I like that. The sweater or
I
the
want to
fluffer?
save. Yeah, I want to save that energy. And you know, ideally, by the time that I'm there and I have to choose between the fluffer or the sweater, I should already have visualized what it takes to beat my opponent. And so the fluffer is kind of just a medium for me to start switching the gears and you know, put that visualization to test.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot because there are a lot of these team esports, and we can talk like League, Valorant, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and there's always this warm up scrim, right? So, and there's also been situations where maybe the team didn't have the opportunity to do a warm up scrim. So then what is, and then they happen to perform really well, right? So I'm wondering if there is a potential detriment to the warm up scrim maybe being too cognitively intensive. And I mean, have you guys had that experience where maybe you chose a fluffer that was secretly he was a sweater, and you were like, wait a second, what?
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely, I felt that. Big House 6, I had to warm up for ice in winter semis, I think, and I played with Kalindi, KJH, and KJH, you know, great fox, about my skill level. We played some sweaty fox dittos for like an hour, and then when I went up to play against ice, I got smacked. I was just like out of juice. I was like, wow, I'm so exhausted right now.
Interesting.
And so after that, I was straight fluffers, only fluffers.
So how do you do it in if you if what is it? If you go to like a summit, do they fly in fluffers? Like, oh, you got the fluffer pass.
That's where you get Bobby in
Don't
there.
worry, I'm a fluffer.
Yeah,
Go by me.
Bobby's a great fluffer.
I'm a fluffer. Oh wow, okay.
Bobby,
Alright.
Bobby knows how to play a ton of characters, so he can be the fluffer we need.
Mhm.
Wow.
Also, it's
he
just like a
does it
mental
all.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can play against. I think back then I didn't have the right mentality when I played against KJH. I think if I treated it more as a fluffer and less about like oh man, I need to execute perfectly. I need to try my absolute hardest in these friendlies. If I took the approach of like, all right, I just need to make sure I'm moving well, hitting some edge guards, I got the right general game plan, without really caring about winning or losing, I think it would have been a much better approach. So I think it's a mental thing too. Like anyone could be a fluffer, but it's just kind of how you think about them and how you're thinking about playing them.
So it is the mental strategy of what you're thinking about. Like you aren't trying to make sure you hit every exact strategy that you're going to be using on the actual match. Okay.
Yeah. I want to bring up something that Summer from CLG has taught us, actually, when it comes to ramping it up. It's not about hitting that technique that you want 10 times out of 10. It's about when you do hit the technique and you do try it, that you attain that feeling. And so let's say I go for something and I only hit it half the time, and I'm like, oh fuck, maybe I'm in the mentality like, shit, I'm only hitting this half the time. Like when the time comes and all the pressure's there, I don't think I'll be able to get this. But rather than that, when that moment does come in the practice and you do hit it as you're ramping up, you really hone in on that feeling of hitting it. You're like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to do. This is how it feels to execute this. And so when the time comes, when I'm on stage and I need to do this, that feeling is what I can recall, not the fact that I hit it 6 out of 8 times, you know?
Got it. So you're using the fluffer to scan for that state, maybe like a preview of the flow state or a preview of the PEW state, Okay.
Exactly.
That's I think there's definitely a lot to be explored there. Not only in a game like Smash, but really in a team game, right? Like how do we properly warm up? And I know before we started this, we were talking about gum, right? So now I think is the time to explore where in your pregame routine is the gum factoring in. What's up, Bobby? Bobby's in here.
Bobby's in here?
Bobby.
We're
Yoda
just
buffs, okay?
Bobby, we were just talking about the magic of this right here.
Right, okay.
This
We were
thing.
talking about that.
So when it comes to my preparation, I have my start of the day ritual and I have my pregame ritual. I'll really quickly go over the start of the day ritual, as if we're talking about LAN as well, not home. And so, gotta wake up early. Gotta get 8 hours. Gotta wake up early. Day before, you already decide what you're gonna eat. So that way, when you wake up, it's a no decision breakfast. That's what we call it. So you get up early, and I hit the shower. I turn on that water really fucking hot, probably too hot for my body, but I get all that steam in there, and it feels amazing. I put on those love songs, get in tune with my feelings and shit, have an amazing fucking shower, get out of there, do my hair, my earrings on, get beautiful, do all that stuff, go have my no decision breakfast. I'm already on a great track. And then I get in there, and when it comes to like the pregame thing, let's say, okay, I know I'm fighting a Falcon player. So I'm gonna get in there, and for 30 minutes, before I play someone, I'll do like 10-15 minutes of solo stuff, and I'll just to get my fingers warm, and then I'll fight someone who plays Captain Falcon. And this is the Fluffer. This is where the Fluffer comes in. And then before I play, I make sure not to go continuously Fluffer into the set. I'll take maybe 5 minutes to go to the bathroom. I always go to the bathroom before I play. And I'll come out. I make sure I got the playlist on right, and don't really look at the stage so much. Don't really look at the player, and try to just hone in on what I need to do. And that's when I pop the gum and get ready to go.
Get that minty freshness all in your mouth.
Yeah, and that's you gotta stay fresh the whole time, man. And that's why I'm going through like a pack of gum like every tournament. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
I'm like a fucking camel if they chewed gum.
They do. There's such a thing as camel gum. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
They're like nicotine.
Just kidding.
No. We're not into that.
No. But nicotine is obviously has had a lot of there's a lot of studies showing its potential benefit with cognitive function, which is no surprise that, hey, in Korea, you got smokers left and right, and they come over here, smoke a pack a day, and they're also the best at everything they do, right? So
that's crazy.
Every game they play.
I'm not interested at all, though.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it is. It is very interesting. But I love that. I love that whole routine that you have, especially the Steam and love song part. That's pretty interesting. I've never heard of that part within a preparatory routine, but I love the no decision breakfast. We don't want decision fatigue. We don't want that at all. So
no decisions.
Good. I'm always with that. And I do remember just playing games with you over the years. You definitely need to use the bathroom prior to gameplay, no matter what. I think that is consistent with my experience with playing games with you. So
we would be playing in those Fortnite tournaments
every game,
and
small bladder.
every single game. Yo, I gotta go to the bathroom. And it's not even that like I really have to use the bathroom, like because I could be using the bathroom every 15 minutes between games, but like. It's just about like that feeling, and like it's just so ingrained. Like it's honestly so ingrained that even when we would compete at Fortnite for nothing, it would still be a part of the routine.
Amazing. Oh man! So as we get further along into this, I wanted to ask you guys a little more about the balance that you guys maintain. And Bobby, since you're here, they've spoken a lot about how you've helped with that. But I wanted to know a little more about what you guys are intentional with to help you guys maintain, this work-life balance or this pro gamer life balance.
Well, I think the biggest thing is sleep. I think it's really difficult to do anything when we have no sleep or less sleep. Trying to think of other very specific things.
I can answer right now, Zach.
Sure.
So, like in my life, I'm an extremely hobby-driven person. Like, so, for instance, if I don't listen to 2 new albums in a week, I'm dying. And so, for like as part of competing, the more I compete, the more I need to put time into my hobbies too. And so Bobby has explained this concept to us before about what is it? Work, play, pray, and rest. Those are the 4 components. And so let's say for work is me grinding for a tournament. Rest is me doing intentional time to relax. And that's not me like with Smash on my mind, like stressing and like binge watching Avatar: The Last Airbender and freaking out every moment. That's me intentionally blocking out the noise and really just like relaxing. Play is that fun aspect of Smash. So I cannot compete at Smash unless I'm like, there's a fun aspect to it. Of course, sometimes not going to be fun, but there needs to be some fun to it. And Prey, which is my hobbies, is Prey is like your personal time. And so the more that I ramp up my work, the more that I need to ramp up the other parts. And so, for instance, for me, the more I'm going to be working, the more I need to be like cooking new food and listening to new albums and, you know, fucking around on World of Warcraft and like talking that shit with people on Discord, you know, random night while playing chess or something, you know, just that kind of stuff has really helped me like have balance in my life.
So it's work, play, pray, rest. What Bobby has posted here, WPPR. Bobby is a legend. We might have to bring Bobby on here.
Legend, dude.
We actually need to bring Bobby on here.
You gotta get him on your show at some point, man.
I need Arrow, and I need WPPR, and I need all the other acronyms, Bobby, because
Arrow is E plus R equals O, by the way.
Yeah. I need the other ones, and maybe you can give us a preview of some other random, or not random, other acronyms. You know, hope if you have one, but I mean, I love all of them. That's amazing. They're all amazing. I like WPPR. What's WPPR for you then, Zach? What is your pray and rest?
What's my pray? Yeah, I would say I'm much worse at taking intentional rest than Kevin is. And Bobby always has to harp on me like, yo, stop. Like, stop thinking about Smash. Stop, you know, like, just relax. Like, go outside, you know. And I'm pretty fortunate. I live, like, up in the woods right now. So there's actually a bunch of nature out here, and so actually I've been bike riding a lot lately, and
Awesome.
That's something that has been really getting my mind off everything. I actually, there's just like one hill right by my house, and I try to do a loop and then up the hill at least once. It's a really steep hill, okay? It's not just any hill. I try to do it at least once, and like that grind of like going up the hill is kind of like my prey, along with you know, shooting the shit with Kev and the other Discord boys, playing some chess, you know, playing some Counter-Strike. Like,
got it. So that's what goes on. Okay.
Yeah.
So, perfect.
Yeah, I think an important thing about Prey is that it's a lot of where that energy could go into work, or could go into like the mental load of work. You're putting it elsewhere, and with the intention of like really being into that thing, and it's like you're so into it that the other things around you like don't matter. And what's funny is I can listen to a really, really shitty album and I'm still down. Like, I'm still down because I'm like so in it, and like the rest of the world is like not around me, and I can really just like enjoy a new experience or something.
So
I will say,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, one thing that I have struggled with in the past in regards to resting is sometimes I'll rest too hard and then I'll have to recover from my rest. And it sounds ridiculous, but you know, Bobby's like a lifesaver when it comes to this, but you know, like that's another balance like that I sometimes struggle with, is like, if I do stop working, then and I go into this rest period, I don't want to rest for too long. Otherwise, I'm like kind of stuck in a slump, and then it's hard to get back to work, right?
So you
yeah,
do
so like for
R
instance,
sometimes instead of lowercase. Got
it. Sometimes Zach will be like, "Oh, to rest, like, oh yeah, there's like 3 weeks until the next tournament. I need to take like a week off." We'll spend like the whole week like playing League of Legends solo queue, and that's like draining. And you know, once he's out of that week, he's like, holy fuck, like I'm exhausted. Like this is really exhausting. So yeah, that's just an example.
I think you just have a lot of drive, Zach. You're just like, I need to still.
I need to do
grinding.
something. I get
Okay.
I get too fidgety if I'm like if I'm resting for too long, and then my rest turns into more work, and then I'm not even resting. So
Right. You know, and I think that if you think of each of those letters, those are all skills, right? Those are all skills that you can develop, right? You have to develop the skill of resting. Right? And Bobby, we definitely gotta chat. I want to hear this framework of yours. I want to also, maybe we can find some cool science to back all of this up. And I'm sure you've already looked up all of that, but I would love to have that conversation. But let's, you know, we're near the end of this, and obviously really appreciating that you guys took the time to chat with me. We're coming up on an hour now. Is there anything else that you guys, you know, maybe as a last note, want to help anyone that's watching understand in terms of how they can best approach their lifestyle as a maybe a competitive gamer or even a aspiring pro? Like, what's your one tip?
Don't be so concerned about the future that you can't enjoy the now. And that can also be said about, don't be so desperate to improve that you can't improve right now. Maybe you're so caught up in what your future self is going to look like that you can't objectively see yourself for what you are now. Something that I've always struggled with is I've always been like a futurist, and my mind is always towards the future, and so it's always been really hard for me to like quiet my mind in respect to that. And sometimes I'll be like, you know, if I just had this, then my mind would be calm. And then maybe I do get that, but I'm already worried about the next thing. That's something that's always really inhibited my growth as a player and as a person, and in my professional career as well. And so to aspiring esports players who feel like they're already out of time, or they're too old, or some random nonsensical bullshit that you're telling yourself, calm down and enjoy yourself and really work on the present you, because that's the only you you're actually going to have.
That was really powerful. It's almost like you prepared that. But you didn't, but that was amazing.
It's been on my mind, actually. If I wasn't on this show today, I was actually going to write a blog post pretty much about my futurist views. And yeah, so it's been really on my mind for the past month, because ever since I got this job, it's interesting. I guess I'll explain this right now, but it's like, now is finally the first time in my life that I feel I can shut off that part of my brain that's so worried about the future. Because it's like I've arrived at this job, and I've taken a step back from competing, and it's like when 6 o'clock rolls around, I can clock out, and I can mentally clock out. But like when I was like a professional, it's like, you know, let's say 6 o'clock rolls around again, and I'm like, okay, now it's time to play video games. It's like, yeah, but if I play video games, like I'm taking less time for Smash. It's like, oh, I can't watch Lord of the Rings tonight because that's 3 hours. I could be like playing Smash or some shit. And it's always been so hard to like quiet my mind. And I feel like I'm finally at a spot where I'm working on it. And I'm 27 years old, and it's taken all this time, but yeah, so that's my soapbox to the future generation of esports players.
Yeah, wow. I think that's so powerful, because I was actually around the same age, probably exactly the same age, when I really started to think about being more present, and just the concept and idea of being present. And I think it all stemmed from reading, you know, this book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It was a game changer for me, because it really made me realize how much of my daily thinking that I was spending worrying about all these things in the past, in the present, or in the past, in the future, and just realizing that now there's only now, and those are all things that we're creating for ourselves. All those potential stressors are all things that we've just created in our minds, because we live in a society where it almost perpetuates that kind of thinking, right? And we have to unlearn those sort of societal, I guess, triggers of us worrying about our past, worrying about our future. But I love that you're speaking about that, because I think everyone needs to learn about just the idea of presence and how to be present, not thinking about other things while you're here with someone else, while you're talking to someone, and it's just such a powerful feeling to be able to speak with someone that is present, whether is fully intently there listening to you, hearing what you're saying, processing what you're saying. It's a completely different experience. And I think for most people, if you've ever had a conversation with someone and it just felt really engaging and almost like magnetic, I would just say that they were just completely present in the moment, and maybe you were picking up on those cues subconsciously, that they were just fully listening to you. But I don't know, I agree, I love that soapbox.
Yeah.
But anyways, what's up?
I don't know. I was just wondering if Zach had anything.
Yeah, Zach, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of hard to follow up after that one. But I would just, I would tell aspiring pro players or Smash players or whatever, really think about why. Really think about your why. Like, why do you want to be the best player in the world? Why are you playing this game, right? And that why, like, can change over time. Like, it's okay to let it change. It doesn't need to be like set in stone forever. As you like grow up as a person, you have more priorities and different priorities. And but having a strong why, will motivate you and get you up to practice or not, right? So I think finding a strong why you want to be the best player in the world, why you want to play this game, why you want to do this over this, right? Because your time is a limited resource, so you should spend it wisely.
100%. And I think a lot of us undervalue that. I think we're all told many times, like, oh, you should know your why, but they don't really know what that means, right? And I think one of my favorite exercises, at least to recommend to do that, is like, you ask yourself one question and then you keep asking yourself why to that question, right? Like the 5 whys. So you get to the root of the issue, really, and it kind of like uncovering your beliefs as to how and what you're doing and why you're doing it to approach a certain thing. Like, why do I want to be good at Smash? Well, I want to win. Well, why do I want to win? Because I am a loser. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, basically, like, you keep uncovering and asking that question to identify, well, what's the root and core belief? And I think it's hard work. People, like, really, it's easy for us to say this, but it's not easy to do. You have to put in the work to really, really think about your why and, what you're doing, because it will drive you every day. You can't rely on, motivation. You can rely on this deep-rooted why. So I love that as well. And now let's just do some more random questions. And Kev, you said you listen to 2 albums a week. What's a good one? What's a good one that you listened to recently?
A really good one that I was just listening to, and I even have it because I was listening to this while I was playing, is an album called It's Immaterial by Black Marble. This is like a indie / synth pop kind of sound. And if you think about New Order meets Beach Fossils, sex, baby, bam, that's it right there. And if any of you guys are checking it out as we speak, the first song on it is it's like the sound of a robot getting murdered, and it's like digital screaming. So don't be alarmed by that. Just
Okay.
if that's not your cup of tea, skip past the first song, and you just go from song 2 to 11, and you might enjoy it.
Interesting. So this is the genre that you're into right now.
No.
Wars.
No,
the sound of
actually,
robots. Okay.
I'm usually not into this kind of music. But another another one that I've been listening to is True by Solange. That is Beyonce's sister. 2012. You guys should check it out. That shit's really good.
And actually one thing that we didn't cover this whole time was how you're vegan, Zach. So we'll probably have to bring you on again to talk about this, because I think there's a lot of things that we can get into about how it could, impact your performance and impact your energy levels. But, random question for you. What do you believe that other people think is just insane?
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know if people think this is insane, but I do think, that we live in a world where we don't need to eat meat anymore. I think meat, it always used to be a luxury, and only recently did we start eating it daily, multiple times a day as a species. So, I think we live in a world where we don't need it. Like, we can get our nutrients from plants easily. So, yeah, some people might think that's insane, but
yeah, it's tough to not eat meat.
yeah, I mean, culturally, we grew up with it, right? Like, we never knew a time where we didn't have meat 3 times a day, 2 times a day. So
then what's the number one, SFAT dish for the SFAT vegan dish? What's the number one thing that fuels you, that you're like, oh, vegan X, that's great, right? Like for me, I'm like, oh, I'm about to get pizza with pepperoni and meat lovers. That's about to do some damage on my dopamine levels. But what about you? Like, what's the one thing you're like, oh?
I don't generally, the dinners that I eat are usually just a bunch of random things that I like to eat that I just throw together. Up there, sweet potato. I love sweet potato. Sweet potato, some black beans, some edamame, some tofu.
Dang.
And
so you a la carte it every night then?
Some some broccoli, yeah, or green beans, some sort of veggie on the side.
Okay. That's a very well thought out answer, but Zach, consider this. Oatmeal.
Oatmeal is my shit. I eat oatmeal almost every single day, and it's great.
So you eat it dry? Like what form?
Oh,
what's the form factor here?
Steel cut.
Okay.
Put it in 2 cups of water in a pot, half a cup of oats, let it cook for a while, put some cinnamon in it. Then I get some chia seeds. So that's all done. Put it in a bowl. Some chia seeds, tablespoon of chia seeds, and then some fruit. Lately, I've been digging some kiwi, sometimes blueberries, and then some milk in it too. So I have the hot oatmeal with the milk. It's actually
right.
Yeah. Usually, lately it's been soy milk, but sometimes almond milk or what have you. And like that, chia seeds, oatmeal, some almond milk, and then some fruit. That's like every single morning. That's what I eat.
So we need to create an SFAT recipe, and we'll make a video about that. Yeah, SFAT's go to steel cut oats recipe. Here's how to cook it, and you'll become a melee god. Perfect. That's amazing.
I've had the oatmeal before. I've had the oatmeal before made by Zach. Yeah, and we were calling it GOATmeal.
Oh, that's
It's
the
the-
name of it. Goatmeal.
Yeah, not to be confused with the animal goat. That's
Right.
the greatest of all time.
Got it. And then would you use goat milk sometimes?
No, that's no.
That's the rule.
Only milk
Okay.
from plants. Only milk
Got
from
it.
plants, not
That's right.
animals.
It's good. That was a test and you passed. Perfect. Alright. So we're good. So well actually, Kev, I don't know what your favorite food is. Let's figure this out. What's number one?
My favorite food right now is probably bun bo hue.
Oh,
Yeah, which is that Vietnamese
Mhm.
like lemongrass, spicy as fuck, deep flavor, oily as shit, delicious, amazing noodle orgy in my face, and
Exactly.
it's just
Exactly. Bumbleway. Bumbleway. And I think that's probably a good time and good thing to end on. Bumbleway and Goatmeal. You know, I think we learned a lot of things here tonight. Also, I think the highlights were Eero, WPPR, and gum, and also gum. So we've definitely touched on a lot of things, and you know, maybe next time what we'll do is we're just gonna play Counter-Strike together, and that'll be the stream. That'll be the stream.
I'm down.
So,
So
hey,
down.
honestly, guys, I appreciate you guys so much for coming on to chat with me on this, and for everyone that tuned in, thank you guys. You know, that was a long little discussion. We'll cut that up. You know, definitely have the recipe for goatmeal out there, but only available for 1 week. You know, no longer, because goatmeal is not intended to be out there more than one week on the internet. So, yeah, that is all. You know, yesterday I did this live stream, and we do this every single month where we talk about different topics with this one community. And this month they wanted us to research chewing gum and cognitive performance. Have you guys heard of any research about that?
No.
Okay.
It really helps me. Like whenever I compete, I always have gum.
Really?
Yeah, it
Are you
always
making
helps
that
me.
up?
Like, what's up?
Are you lying? Or
No, I'm not fucking lying. I'm not
Oh.
lying at all. I got that shit right here, Matt.
oh my
That
god,
shit
okay.
right here.
So it's really
But
interesting.
yeah, it always helps me like release the tension, dude. Like I think it actually helps me a lot.
Yeah, so they actually, Zach, remember a long time ago we talked about the optimal arousal theory? I'm sure you've probably
Mm-hmm.
been learning a lot about that. But they said that it helps to increase autonomic arousal with chewing gum, so it helps with sustained attention. And it's also been shown to reduce your reaction time. They also have shown in some studies that with chewing gum, because of some neural connections with mastication or chewing, there's a reduction in cortisol. So maybe that is associated with the reduction of stress that you feel. I know in some other resources that I've listened to that when you're chewing, we naturally tap into the serotonin systems of our body, which are more associated with relaxing. So, you know, there's a lot of different theories, but overall, I think a lot of the research lends itself towards saying that chewing gum can be helpful for performance.
Yeah, every single. I guess later we can talk about like my what am I trying to say? My like warm up routine or my tournament routine and
Oh,
like
yeah,
chewing
for
gum is one of those. It's like
That's awesome.
one of the most important parts, probably the second most important.
Really, that's super interesting. Yeah, I'm curious about when you would start to take it